if you're trading with algorithms or trading strategies in 2026, here are the top 5 mistakes to avoid, and also kind of the top 5 myths that I'm going to debunk. I have gone through a lot of the comment sections to what you guys are saying, and so I built some of that into the list for motivation for what we're going through today. And also, if you're not trading with trading strategies, you're just doing manual trading, whether it's stocks or futures or anything like that, these tips will also apply to you. So if you're not subscribed to the Trade Tactics YouTube channel yet, then what are you doing? I mean, I'm giving you guys the real sauce, and there's a lot of tutorials on my channel already that you guys have gone through, showing exactly my workflow and how I get bots and strategies from scratch to be all the way through the workflow process to profitable. So hit the subscribe and bell notification icon and like the video, and I will comment. And if you comment down below, I will respond to as many comments as I can. So be sure to do that if you have any questions. So the first thing that I want to touch on is that with the rise of AI, my channel really does talk a lot about AI and trading. You can't automate your way out of learning, right? That's number one. So, you have to have a certain foundational knowledge that you can actually gain through AI if you ask it the right questions, if you deliberate back and forth and ask it the right questions, right? But if you don't even know what questions to ask or where to learn and what to research, then, the trading algorithms and using AI with your trading, these strategies, they're not really a full replacement for having a brain. And actually, the trading algorithms and applying these concepts are kind of like that multiplier effect that once you learn enough about these skills, then yes, they can readily multiply, at least for me, how much I'm making using trading strategies overall. But they're not a replacement for actually going out and doing the deep learning, which you have to do. Now, number 2 is that backtesting is now easy with AI. Now, here's a backtest on the Rune USD 3-minute chart. Now, number 1, if you look at the chart here, everything that's yellow in the background here, sometimes it's thicker. I have different algorithms running. This is areas where it's not trading. There was one area back here where it has a long entry, and that's the only area it's allowed to trade in. And then it whooshes up the market, right? And then it flips near the top. So on this 3-minute chart, there's so much clutter and noise, right? And backtesting something like this is an excruciatingly difficult process. Now, AI can assist with it, but you have to build the backbone. Now, I've gone through that in previous videos where I show you guys building a backtesting machine locally, and then your AI that's working on your local computer can use the engine that you already have as an assist to it, so it can function overnight and build different trade concepts and then optimize it. But your engine is the optimizer. The AI is kind of just there to touch the buttons, right? So for people who put an over resilience on AI for building strategies, right? Because you can feed it good strategy ideas, but if you're just asking it to make something up, it might just pull out the same thing that it gave 10,000 other people. So backtesting and creating these, again, it's not as easy as you might think. It actually is quite difficult, and it does require some finesse and also some real skill. Like I said, I can randomize all the candlesticks here as an example of my workflow, download the price data, randomize the candlesticks, and I run trials on them and build different grids, and then I test different trading rules one by one. And it's a very organized process. This is not something that, an AI can completely do. It's not a crystal ball. You have to give it the kind of scaffolding to work on. So that's why you build the local engine. That's what the AI will use in the actual workflow overnight, for example. Number 3 is really important because a lot of people think that if you're using trading strategies that you're automatically going to be buy and hold, right? The thing is, if you're long-term just investing in the market typically has, if you scroll out to the weekly or monthly chart, the market has a tendency just to go up. And number 3 is super important because a lot of people think that if you're using trading algorithms that it's going to be buy and hold, and that's not always the case. For example, if you zoom out and the markets just have a tendency to go up, they're typically a hedge against inflation. We already know inflation is generally going to happen 2 to 7% per year on average. And so the markets just tend to always make all-time new highs. That's very familiar. We're very familiar with that. So zooming out, long-term investments, I mean, trading bots can be really good at day trading, but the vast majority of day traders are losing. And if you have an edge, if you find something that has never really been discovered in trading markets, there's all kinds of bots competing to get an edge in the market today, more than ever before. In the 70s and 80s, there was actually less competition, so the bots could perform better. But now, backtesting and being even more rigorous is crucial. And even then, you might not be buy and hold, right? You might be spending all of this time and labor building these algorithms to trade every scenario and trying to just set and forget it, which again, you can't always do. You have to be the pilot of the flight as well for your aircraft, your trading engine, your trading machine that you're building. So that would be what I had to say on this, is that, trading bots are an excellent tool, but they're just one tool in my arsenal. That kind of leads me into number 4, which is one of the most important things to remember, is that yes, dialing in something like this that works in real time is crucial, but it's just a backtest, right? Now, will that backtest hold up in real time? Maybe, right? That's the entire concept. Now, if your strategy does not even work in a backtest, I can guarantee it's not going to work in real time. I mean, unless it just flukes in and it's 1 in a million. But the whole point of, for example, I'll use a hypothetical here. If you're doing a flight simulator, the weather that's simulated is historical, but the future might not have the same weather. But the fact is that if you put a brand new aircraft into a flight simulator, if it doesn't even work in the flight simulator on historical weather, then how is it going to work in real time ever if the aircraft isn't even sound? So it's the same thing with trading algorithms. If it passes a backtest, that means, it has a shot, right? But again, if it doesn't even pass the backtest, then what some people say, what's the point of backtesting? And the point of backtesting is to show if it really even has a shot. So Monte Carlo simulations, randomizing candlesticks, like I've shown you here. Here's a visual depiction of it. There's the original candlesticks here on top. That's Solana 1 hour chart. And then everything else here, we've randomized them to give different price patterns. And, in the future, it could have any of these or something else, right? So by giving it as much stress as possible, we're learning, okay, well, how stable is it to different variations? And that's the whole thesis behind it. So yeah, it's not a guarantee. And anyone who tells you that if your strategy is passing all these back tests, that it must work in real time, that's not true, because you could just get the one variation that kills your bot, right? A lot of these back tests, you'll look at the worst 5% of and any of these simulations might stress your algorithm out more than the other ones. And that's the one that you really don't want to hit in real time. But if there's a 95% certainty you're not going to hit that, that's the world you want to live in, is that there's still a probability that you're going to have maybe net profit overall, or a better Sharpe ratio, or something that has less divergence between all of these different simulations. Like if it can perform stably and similarly and have a similar Sharpe ratio in all of these simulations, that's really good, because in real time, when you do your training backtest, those are the best results you're going to get. In real time, your Sharpe ratio is going to be lower, right? Your algorithm has never seen future data yet. And so when it does see it, is it flexible enough to contend with, liquidity sweeps or bull traps or bear traps, for example? Is it going to be able to recognize patterns or false breakouts? Those are the things that you need to put it through as much backtesting data as possible in the best way possible, which is what I get into a lot in previous videos about withholding price data, having in-sample data, out-of-sample data. Those are really crucial concepts that every trader should understand. Now, number 5 is probably one of the most relevant comments that I get on the channel. A lot of people just comment, they don't watch the entire video, and they comment that all trading bots are scams. Now, I will tell you here, I'm caveating it. Yeah, there's a lot of bots that are scams. There's a lot of trading strategies that just don't work in real time or weren't stress tested enough. And because it's so hard to do correctly, there's a rigorous protocol that you must follow, and 99% of people aren't doing that, then 99% of trading bots aren't going to work, unfortunately. All of the top firms are using these methods. That's why I'm showing them on the channel and why you should subscribe shamelessly. But here is the thing, is that if you have transparency, let's say that, on SignalSwap, we have a full marketplace. You can create a trading bot, connect your trading view signals to it, and then if the bot does really well, you can even backtest it here on signalswap.io. Now for the marketplace, there is only real data that's published. So these are just a couple test bots. It's a brand new marketplace, but I'm getting my bots up very shortly here. So you should register for SignalSwap, sign up and connect a trading algorithm and see how it does. You can paper trade on it as well. And for the stress tests here, there's a backtesting tab which has the rigorous backtest as well, just for transparency. So if it's performing in real time and the bot has passed stress tests, right? This one doesn't have a chart attached to it, but if we go to the backtesting engine here, here's a couple tests that I was doing. There's a full report here that you get. You get the in-sample, out-of-sample Monte Carlo. If it's passing these, obviously this EMA one was not going to pass it, for example, but these are almost litmus tests for your bot. Now, if there's a marketplace and somebody's making robust claims about something that obviously I'm using robust different there. Robust as a statistical term is, putting it through these stress tests to prove itself. If they're making these massive claims that aren't backed up with A, real data, or B, proper backtest, not just one, right? Not just one TradingView backtest, but true rigorous results and, in-sample, out-of-sample testing, and then showing you how that was actually conducted. If it has one or both of those, that's really good for building trust as well. So SignalSwap is all about that trust, the marketplace. If you guys are part of the Trade Tactics community on Discord, for example, the free Discord that we have has, there are my trading algorithms on here, the best bot settings that I have for WAP. You can find it at wap.com for the algorithm you see on screen here. There's also the Wolfpack Pro indicator as well, which if you're more of like a manual trading, especially for some of those macro trends, the Wolfpack indicator is what my bot is built off. I built this indicator before AI. This is not AI slop. I'll probably do a more in-depth tutorial video later this week or later on this in future videos for the full Wolfpack tutorial. But if you're part of the community here, the Trade Tactics community, all of these traders are learning together, and there's free open source material here. For example, if you want inspiration for good strategies that people have worked on, we're going to start seeing a lot of these strategies that have been synthesized working their way onto the SignalSwap marketplace. And it only takes 5 minutes to set up your TradingView signals to SignalSwap as well. Super easy and convenient to do. So those are the top 5. I guess the one bonus one I would say is that a trading bot isn't usually always designed to trade in all markets. There's challenging conditions in every candlestick or every data set that you have. And yeah, I mean, something might work in crypto, but not in NQ futures, or it might work the other way around and vice versa. But if it works in both, yeah, I mean, it might be more stable, might be a better system overall. So that's important to keep in mind. So drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.